Good evening. Hope you're doing well today. It is a wonderful, wet and rainy day here in Sydney, Australia. It is, in fact, hump day. So it's Wednesday. Wednesday morning. I'm a little bit late coming to you guys live this morning. Just a little bit late. Had a really big morning, a very exciting morning, and it always is, I must say. But it was one of those mornings where it just got away with me a little bit. So I am coming to you a little bit late. I do apologize, but you are here for a really good session. So please don't go anywhere. We're going to be having a wonderful, a very, very wonderful morning, sharing with you guys something that came across my desk a couple of days ago that I have found quite interesting. And that is the new viral TikTok trend known as fibremaxxing. Now, for anyone who's unsure what TikTok is, it's where all the cool kids hang out. And well, we all hang out everywhere, don't we, these days? But um, TikTok is, a platform that has just it shares quick videos. It went from people doing a lot of dancing now, but it's actually a platform where people are sharing some really, really good information, especially when it comes to things like nutrition. Like any platforms, it has its pros and cons, of course, but it's a lot of fun. TikTok's a lot of fun. So there's this new viral trend on TikTok, which means it's taken off pretty much, and it's known as fiber maxing. Spelt slightly different to what I have here on the screen because it is it first took off in American TikTok. And so it is spelt slightly differently, but it's the same thing. So we're going to be discussing this morning fibremaxing. What is it? Are there any risks involved in fibremaxing? And it kind of, as you guys can imagine, it's right up my alleyway in terms of the things that I like to discuss with you guys. So the nutritional science behind fiber. But if we start adding words like maxing to it, so we're maximizing our fiber, are there some pros? Are there some cons? What do we need to look out for? And is there a best practice way of fiber maxing? And yes to all of the above. So stay with me. Don't go anyway. Don't go anywhere. Now, if you're joining me on Facebook, please let me know. Send me some comment love in the chat. I can see Krista who's joining us from a rainy Sydney. It certainly is today, but you know what? That's fine. Like a bit of rain. Got in a really good walk yesterday. Did a really really nice walk. So don't mind a little bit of rain. I can also see Sandra, who's joining us from the Gold Coast, right up there in Queensland, Australia. Good morning to Christine as well. And good morning. I think it's Francesca Maria is joining us as well. So good morning if you are joining us. If you're joining us on YouTube, because yes, I do have a YouTube channel for anyone who's not sure. I do have a YouTube channel. It is Bridget's Healthy Kitchen on YouTube. Of course, we're Bridget's Healthy Kitchen on Facebook. We have private Facebook communities that you can join, including BHK Family, so you can continue this conversation of optimizing our health, our nutrition, and our longevity. And we do all that sort of stuff on both platforms. But if you want to join our private community, please do. BHK Family. You just got to join and then join in the conversation as well. So if you are new to Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, please remember to like wherever you are, subscribe if you want to get notifications of when I go live as well. So good morning, good morning, good morning. We are talking, as I said, fiber maxing, this new trend. And let's be honest, there's always lots of nutritional trends out there, isn't there? Lots and lots and lots. Yes, I'm just seeing a comment here. I'm just putting this up here. Here we go. Hello, Bridget. I did go to the YouTube channel, but not sure whether comments can be seen on YouTube. So switch to Facebook, or maybe they can't. I really don't know. To be honest with you, why don't you try? I didn't see any comments on YouTube, but I'm glad you're here. But please feel free to use the YouTube channel as well. I should get comments because everything is connected. So I should get comments if you are on YouTube as well. But on Facebook, I can definitely see the comments coming up here. I'm new to this platform. I've got a new platform that I'm using, so I'm not really sure. So we're kind of learning as we go. I like to refer to that as building the plane as we're flying it. we'll just give it a go and see what happens, and we'll adjust as we're going. But it's good to have you here on Facebook too. So, as I was saying, there's always lots of trends nutrition wise that get a little bit of a hammering. So, for example, one of the biggest trends we've seen in the last, I would say, decade would be the keto diet and people doing very low carb. That's been a trend for a while. We're also seeing a lot of trends when it comes to high protein or protein loading style diets. There's been a massive trend when it comes to the I've lost my train of thought. I was talking about protein loading. Yes, I was. I just saw another comment that I really want to comment on. Let me just get this. So here we go. Is this coming from? Here we go. So yeah, the YouTube comments work. The YouTube comics work, and that is from Wellington, who's joining us on YouTube. So there's been lots and lots of trends nutrition wise. That's where I was going with it. So there was that protein loading trend, and one of the trends that's sort of been around for the last, I would say, maybe 4 or 5 years is the carnivore diet, where you just eat meat, right? So there's lots and lots of trends. And one that's kind of popped up on my radar recently is this fibremaxxing. And it's when pretty much you maximize your fiber intake, and it promises benefits like improved digestion and weight loss. But, and this is something that we all have to be very mindful of, because it's a trend doesn't mean it's necessarily being done correctly, because often these trends are done without, I don't want to say complete knowledge, nutritional knowledge of how it should be undertaken. But with anything, there are pros and cons. We're going to go through them today. Plus, I'm also going to give you evidence-based guidance on how you can fiber max. Now, one of the reasons why I do believe that fiber maxing has really taken off, especially, on channels, platforms like TikTok, and even on YouTube as well, YouTube Shorts, is because of, like, if we were really to break it down, a lack of fiber in our diet is something that's causing a few problems around town, so to speak. In other words, we are noticing, and this is within the health professional quarters, we're noticing people who are coming to us who have very, very low fiber diets. And they're not just struggling with digestive issues, but one of the most commonly diagnosed cancers at the moment is directly linked to this low fiber diet. And why is our diet so low on fiber? Well, pretty much is that vegetables are no longer our best friend, and yes, there is a lot of fiber in vegetables, but more so we are leading a very highly processed convenience lifestyle. So we're consuming more foods that have little to no fiber than we are consuming whole foods. So this low fiber, epidemic that we have seen ourselves have for a number of years now is really showing up in hospitals and people being diagnosed with digestive conditions, digestive issues, really poor gut health, and of course, the extreme end of the spectrum is that, yes, bowel cancer or colon cancer is one of the fastest growing, most diagnosed cancers currently out there. So this fiber maxing, there's a little bit of weight behind it. If anyone knows what I'm laughing about when I think about weight. Oh my gosh, yes, there's a little bit of weight behind the old fiber maxing. I just saw this from Tony, and she's saying, subtitles would be good. Yeah, I know you're at work, right, Tony? You're at work. If you are watching this, as a recorded, not as a live, there will be subtitles. By the way, they do come up automatically. I think on both YouTube and Facebook, they come up automatically. So, good morning to everyone. Let's get into the fiber maxing cons first. So now we know that there's a trend. If you didn't know there's a trend, you know there's a trend now. And it's doing the rounds on TikTok. I know it'll make it to Facebook. It's doing the rounds on YouTube Shorts as well, and Reels. And it's about maximizing your fiber intake with these promises of improved digestion and, of course, weight loss as well. But we have to be really aware that with anything, especially when it comes to doing things and maximizing things, there can be some issues. So let's first talk about the potential drawbacks or the cons when it comes to fiber maxing. And one of the main things that people experience when they are beginning to increase their fiber intake is there can be some digestive distress. Now, what I'm talking about is bloating, pain, sometimes discomfort, sometimes quite disturbing pain, and gas as well. So when you go from a low fiber diet to a high fiber diet, what does that look like? So they recommend, so the recommendations is we should be getting 25 to 30 grams of fiber for adults every single day. The average Australian, New Zealand person from the UK, person from certain parts of Europe, the US, North America, the average person is getting around about 5 grams of fiber per day, whereas actually we need something like 25 to 30 grams of fiber. That is a massive fiber deficiency that the majority of people have. And I'm not just talking about 50% of the population, we're talking about, upwards of 85 to 90% of the population of people are not getting enough fiber. And it's because of our modern, everyday, convenient lifestyle, right? Absolutely 100%. So when you go from a very low fiber diet and then you increase it rapidly, this can cause what is known as fermentation overload. And yes, when you are overloading your system and it's not used to it, you can absolutely expect that that could lead to some pretty serious discomfort. And we are talking bloating, and pain from bloating, where it's actually, it's hard to continue on with your day because your tummy feels so painfully, it's so um, lacking in comfort. It's so painful that you can actually find it hard to go about your day. And of course, then there is, gurgling noises that go along with it, and rapid increase in the amount of gas that is being produced in your tummy, which is leading to that bloating. So that's one of the things that you can experience is some pretty serious digestive distress. Another sort of potential side effect of fiber maxing is bowel dysfunction. So excessive fiber without proper, hydration, without proper water, can also cause constipation. So we're talking about, that's a pretty painful condition to have, or a very annoying condition to have. But if you're having too much fiber and a certain type of fiber, this can actually trigger diarrhea. So you could be constipated or you could have explosive diarrhea. None of that sounds like fun, I got to admit. It doesn't sound good. Both of those conditions, not ideal. So that's something else you got to look out for if you're fiber maxing. And the other thing is that high fiber foods, certain high fiber foods can actually bind to certain minerals like iron, zinc, and calcium. So there can also be a nutrient absorption problem as well if we're really rapidly increasing the amount of fiber that we have. And because we're a nation of problematic digestive issues anyway, let's be honest, right? Gut health amongst the general population is not the best because we have this very modern processed approach to food where we let everyone else do the cooking for us, like supermarkets and factories and scientists and drive-throughs and takeaways and and cafes and restaurants. And because we've kind of given over our power where we're not in control of the food that we're eating and the ingredients in there, we have problematic issues in the digestive system with a lot of people, a lot of the population. And for people who are IBS, so irritable bowel syndrome, or IBD, irritable bowel disease, if you were to increase your fiber rapidly through fiber maxing, your symptoms could potentially become a lot worse. So, we're talking about digestive issues for someone who doesn't have IBD or IBS if you fiber max too quickly. But for people who suffer from IBS or IBD, we're talking about quite severe cramping. And that is because of all that fermentable fibers in your body, creating all that gas really quickly, and your digestive system is already dysregulated through the IBS and the IBD. So, there is specific groups of people that have to be even more careful when it comes to fiber maxing. I mean, there's also things, although very rare, like potential intestinal blockages. If you're having so much fiber, remember, the ideal fiber amount is anything from 25 to 30 grams for an adult. But if you're having excess of, 75 grams of fiber a day and you're not drinking enough water, this could actually lead to potential intestinal blockages. So, there are some things to look out for. I mean, and like anything, if you're doing one thing to the max and not balancing out all the other nutrients that you're putting into your body or the other macronutrients, then you've got an imbalanced diet. And an imbalanced diet can lead to social discomfort, let's be honest, right? So overemphasizing protein and at the risk of not getting in, overemphasizing fiber at the risk of not getting in protein and healthy fats and all those other really important nutrients can lead to some social discomfort. So what I'm talking about there, social discomfort, what does that look like? Well, um, things like dysregulated bowel can cause some social discomfort. So, whether you've got constipation and or diarrhea at certain times, that can be really uncomfortable. We're talking about excessive gas as well, can be very uncomfortable in social situations. And not to mention that it can be, just difficult to hang out with your friends and dine out with your friends because we're overemphasizing, we're overdoing this viral fiber trend that is kind of taking hold of social media at the moment. So, there are definitely some things to take into consideration. And for me, one of the biggest things is to make sure that you remain balanced. Yes, you can maximize your fiber, especially if your fiber has been on the low end, but we've got to do it properly. Stay towards the end of this video because I'm going to share with you guys how to fiber load or fiber max properly and how to do it in a really balanced manner, right? How to do it balanced, how to do it safely. So we've talked about the disadvantages or the cons of fiber maxing. What about the pros? Why are people doing it? Why has it become a trend? What's going on? And do you need to fiber max as well? Which is a big question, right? Do you need to do it? Well, firstly, let's kind of have a bit of a heart to heart. Yeah, where's my heart? It's in there somewhere. It's in there somewhere. Let's have a little bit of a heart to heart. So if you can hand on your heart, there's my heart's on that side. If you can hand on your heart, say that you have a diet that is well balanced in vegetables, fiber, protein, and healthy fats, then you may be already fiber maxing and you could probably go about your merry way. But if hand on your heart, you kind of look at your diet and you go, yeah, I'm probably part of that 90% of the population that does not get adequate fiber in my day, then we may need to start to look at how you can improve that, right? So firstly, where are you at? And if you are already, feel pretty confident that you have a balanced approach. I mean, for anyone who's done boost camps with us, you know that that's what I do. I balance stuff out and I make sure, like, I'm fiber first, which it's been my mantra, fiber is your friend. It's been my mantra for many years now, and the importance of getting enough fiber in our day, but also balancing it out. So, we don't max anything. We make sure that we are balancing. And I wish someone would create a viral trend saying nutrition balance, because that's what it's all about, right? Dietary balance, nutritional balance. But if you're thinking to yourself, I might be in the 90% of people that's not getting enough fiber, here's why you need to get more fiber in your day. So let's talk about the pros or the advantages of fiber maxing. So one of the things that you can absolutely guarantee if you are fiber maxing properly if you're fibremaxing safely. Like I said, stay towards the end of this video. I'm going to give you the guidelines for fibremaxing. One of the things that you can experience is enhanced gut health. And of course, that means really good digestion. So we're talking about things like regularity, right? Bowel movement regularity. Because fiber, what it does, and we're talking about those insoluble fibers. So those are the ones that don't dissolve. So insoluble means it pretty much goes through you intact, complete. So you'll take the body removes the nutrients from it, and it does that in your small intestine. So 90% of your nutrients from the good food that you eat gets absorbed in your small intestine, and then that um, insoluble fiber keeps on moving through the small intestines, goes into the large intestine where it feeds your healthy gut bacteria. Because guess what your gut bacteria like to eat? They like to eat fiber. So that insoluble fiber goes through into your large intestine. It becomes literally food for your gut bugs, food for your probiotics, your healthy bacteria. And it also adds bulk to your stool because it's basically fibers, it's insoluble fibers. So you're getting bulk to your stool, which is going to help to reduce constipation. So a lot of people who suffer from it is a suffer from low fiber diets. One of the conditions that they do that is quite common is constipation, because they're just not getting enough bulk to their stool. They're not getting those insoluble fibers going through into that large intestine to help to push everything through. And, chronic constipation. So people who suffer from constipation regularly, how regular is a bowel movement? Once every, at least once every 36 hours. If you're going less than that, like you're potentially not having enough fiber, you're potentially having a backup of waste product, because by the time that stuff gets into your large intestine, it's pretty much waste. There's a lot of toxicity in there as well. And if it's sitting in your large intestine too long, your body can actually reabsorb the toxins that is in that waste product from that food. So going regularly is really important, really vital, as we know. And fiber, and the insoluble fiber that you find in vegetables, that helps to give your stool bulk, right? That helps to keep you regular. So one of the advantages of fibremaxxing, it helps to keep you regular, and that's how it does it. Another advantage of fibremaxxing is what we've been talking about, is that the fiber, right? The fiber actually feeds your gut bacteria. It feeds them. And the type of fiber that we're talking about that feeds them is the soluble fiber. So this is the type of fiber that actually ferments into short chain fatty acids, also known as CFAs. And these short chain fatty acids is which nourishes the gut bacteria. It strengthens the lining of the gut as well. And one of the great things about soluble fiber is it reduces inflammation. Right. And now a word from our sponsor. Guess what I got? Oh, wrong way. Guess what I got? Soluble fiber. I know I'm laughing because this is why I love this trend, right? Because I'm like, well, we sell all that stuff. We have been banging the drum of fibremaxxing for as long as Bridget's Healthy Kitchen has been around, which is nearly a decade now that we've been around. So of course I've got here our sweet as fiber syrup. I need to put my glasses on for this one. I need to tell you guys exactly how much fiber is in this product. So remember how I said you need to have 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day for the average adult. In 10 mils of our sweet as fiber syrup. Why do I call it sweet as? Because it's sweet. It's very, very sweet. In fact, this is our alternative to maple syrup and honey. In this 10 mils, right? 10 mils. You can put that on a teaspoon. And one of those, there is, wait for it, in 10 mils. And this, by the way, is a 500-gram bottle. In 10 mils, there is 6.9 grams of fiber. I'm not joking. Remember how you need to have 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day? There is 6.9 in 10 mils of our fiber syrup. And yes, it tastes like candy floss. It is sweet. It is versatile. You can use it in your baking, in your cooking, in your marinades. I make this really delicious dish just recently. Oh, I've got some. Let me show you. Oh, I'm really excited. This is my little portable snack bag. We had a discussion on snacks yesterday. If you missed it, it was a really good chat. Actually, it was a fantastic chat about snacks yesterday, about how to snack smart, snack healthy. Here's my little snack bag. Do you see what I have in there? Right? These are my curry roasted nuts in my little pre-portioned snack bag that I bring to it with me. And to make my curried nuts, I use a variety of nuts in here. I've got cashews, I've got pecans, I've got walnuts, I've got almonds, I've got some peanuts in there as well. There is Brazil nuts. I usually pick the Brazil nuts out and eat them. It didn't make it to the bag. But in here, so a collection of nuts. I then throw them into a bowl. I add a couple of tablespoons. I do a lot all at once. I do a tablespoon or two of mild curry powder. Yeah. And then I drizzle it with fiber syrup, roast them in the oven for like 25 minutes on 150 degrees Celsius, which is 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And I get a big jar of these incredible, extremely moreish, ridiculously delicious, high fiber, healthy fat, full of nutrients thanks to that's those spices that are put in it. Little healthy snack that I can have. And then I add it to things like I'll chop them up and put them on the top of my bread when I bake my bread. I will chop them up and throw them into salads. I'll put them on the side of a gut healing bowl. They're just there and they're delicious and it's got fiber on them thanks to our syrup. So we've got our prebiotic, high fiber, sweet as fiber syrup. But wait, there's more. We also have our pure as inulin powder. Now, this is, by the way, the powder version of this. So when I want to make things like pickles, I have a fiber maxed pickle that I make using my inulin powder. It is sweet. You can put it into your tea and coffee in replacement of sugar. And how much fiber is in this? Are you ready? In 1 teaspoon of our pure as inulin powder, there is 4.4 grams of fiber. I know, that's insane. Nearly 5 grams of fiber in 1 teaspoon of this. You want to talk about Fibremaxxing? This is insane. Tastes like candy floss. I use it in baking. I use it in pickles. Like I said, you can put it into your tea or your coffee. If you want to sweeten your beverage, but you want to add some goodness to it. I mean, some people just take it straight off the spoon because it tastes amazing. And again, we're talking about this really powerful dietary fiber, prebiotic fiber that will help to create these short chain fatty acids or these CFAs in your body. They will nourish your gut bacteria. They will strengthen the gut barrier. They will also reduce inflammation. So that's another thing that we have, right? But okay, I've got to add the warning to it. If you're someone who does suffer from irritable bowel syndrome or irritable bowel disease, IBD or IBS, then these fermented soluble fibers can actually be problematic because they're so good. They have so much fiber in them, they can actually cause your symptoms to become worse. So if you are someone who has IBS or IBD, those 2 products may not be for you. But don't worry, I gotcha. Are you ready for the next one? Okay, here we go. So introducing Boost Protocol. So Boost Protocol, it's a syrup again. So it's similar to our fiber syrup, but it's lighter in color. These are plant-based, right? These 2 products come from inulin, which is a plant. It is a root that is grown in Europe, and then it's mixed with water to get fiber, to get pure as inulin powder or sweet as fiber syrup. It's just literally inulin root and water makes these 2 products. It's then processed and then sent to us, and then we send it out to you guys. That's easy to do. This one here is actually comes from a bovine source, so it's actually a byproduct of the of milk and dairy creation, believe it or not. But it is, as I was saying, it is a prebiotic dietary fiber, but because it's not inulin powder, it's actually okay for people with IBS and IBD. In fact, it will help to improve your symptoms when it comes to IBS and IBD. So this is good for everyone. It is, again, a very, very powerful prebiotic dietary fiber. And one of the beautiful things about this is that it's a gentle form of fiber, but it still has a lot of bang for its buck. So I suggest people take a teaspoon at a time. You don't want to take any more than that, because there is in 1 teaspoon of my Boost Protocol, and it tastes amazing, by the way. It is a delicious, sweet syrup. You can take it straight off the spoon. You can put it onto your fruit. You can put in your coffee or your tea. You can bake with it. I put it on top of my muesli yesterday that I made, my homemade muesli, which is my express homemade muesli, by the way. It's the best one I've ever made. It's the best one I've made so far. It's so delicious. I'm going to teach you guys how to make it in the next Boost Camp. It's so good. And then I just put coconut yogurt, some berries that I defrosted, and then I put a teaspoon of my Boost Protocol on top of it. I'm getting this amazing, powerful prebiotic dietary fiber in, tastes sweet. Don't have to worry about digestive discomfort, because you can actually build up an amazing tolerance for it. And I'm getting it all in this really delicious package. So I did it yesterday. You can put on anything. I can put it into marinades. I can bake with it. But like I said, you can take it straight off the spoon. And it's not for people who do have digestive concerns. It's not as heavy on your tummy. You need to be careful when it comes to inulin and fiber syrup. You can't Fibremax unless you are someone who doesn't suffer from those conditions. But if you do, you can Fibremax with your Boost Protocol. And this is actually, we sell this as a supplement. It is in the final stages of our introductory price. It's 2 days left, guys. So if you want to get this at the current price, which is $44.95 a jar, there is 60 doses per jar. 60 doses per jar, because of 1 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon is equivalent of 4 cups of cooked broccoli in fiber, in prebiotic dietary fiber, in 1 teaspoon of this, 4 cups of broccoli. Amazing, right? That's how much fiber. You don't want to overdo it. 1 teaspoon, you're giving your kids 4 cups of broccoli. They don't even know, they're just having something sweet. 1 teaspoon, you're giving yourself the equivalent of 4 cups of broccoli in fiber. So it is very, very good and tastes amazing. And it's transformed things that I do. And it's transforming people's lives. How good a supplement this is. But it's also an ingredient, so it works both ways. So we've got this, like literally, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. We have been Fibremaxxing for years, and it's finally become a trend. So just be careful. You know, if you are IBS, you might want to look at our Boost Protocol. Like I said, if you want to lock in that introductory price, do it now. The price goes up Friday morning at 12:01. It goes up to its normal regular price. So 1 jar is going to be $64.95. It's currently $44.95. But if you buy 2 jars, I'll throw in shipping for free. If you buy 3 jars, I'll throw in shipping for free. If you want to subscribe, you lock in the low price. Plus, I will still throw in shipping for free for 2 or more jars. And you just get it sent to you every month. And you get your fiber. Done. Don't have to think about it, right? It's literally done. It's literally done. And it's done in a delicious way. No more pills, right? No more pills. So more pros, more advantages of Fibremaxxing. So one of the things that fiber does, apart from adding bulk to your stool and helping to improve your gut microbiome or your gut health, is that fiber also has detox effects. So fiber binds to toxins in your digestive system, right? And remember, your digestive system starts in your mouth and literally ends at your bum. It's long. It's huge. In fact, your digestive system is the largest system in your body. If we were to extract it from your body, like take out your entire digestive system, not very pleasant, but just imagine that, if we were to do that, it would be over 6 meters or over 20 feet long. That's your digestive system. So fiber actually binds to toxins. Those are things you don't want in your body. You don't want toxins in your body. It binds to toxins in that digestive tract, in that 20 feet, in that 6 meters. And because it's binding to it, it's helping to eliminate it, right? So it's taking up some of the hard work. It's doing some of the hard lifting for you by binding to toxins in your digestive system. Another advantage of fiber maxing is that it reduces your risk of chronic disease. We're talking about reducing your risk of heart disease. We're talking about reducing your risk of bad cholesterol and high blood pressure. We're talking about also managing and helping to regulate your blood glucose control or your blood sugar control. Because when you've got fiber in your diet, it slows down sugar absorption and starch absorption. So things that cause a lot of sugar and glucose to be in your body, in your blood, are pretty much the modern day, diet, the modern lifestyle that we have. That's one of the things that we're dealing with, right? And so by having fiber in your diet, it slows down the sugar absorption in your body. So you get less of a blood glucose spike. It also slows down the emptying of your stomach, which means that your blood sugar is not rising as rapidly, because high blood sugar and rapid blood sugar rises are problematic. This is not the ideal way for weight loss. This is not the ideal way for inflammation reduction. This is not the ideal way for overall good metabolic health when you've got blood glucose going all the time, right? So fiber helps to slow this down. Fiber helps to slow down the absorption of those sugars and starches in your body as well. So it goes without saying that fiber helps to improve your insulin sensitivity. So for anyone who has been diagnosed with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, one of the biggest dangers of this condition is insulin dysregulation or being insulin resistant. So your insulin, the hormone insulin, no longer works in your body because you have had high blood sugar, peaks and drops and peaks and drops, which leads to insulin resistance, which leads to prediabetes diagnosis or type 2 diabetes. And along with that is all the other health conditions that come along with being insulin resistant. Because here's the scary thing about insulin. You need it, by the way. Insulin's good when it's in normal amounts. Like right now, I'm happy I've got insulin being released from my pancreas. It's a hormone that does a lot of work for me. It's in good amounts. There's not too much insulin being released because I'm not eating foods that are really, really high in sugar and starch and gluten and wheat and whole grains and all that sort of crazy, modern lifestyle that people eat out of the supermarket instead of eating from the farm, that sort of style. So I've got insulin sensitivity. I've got enough insulin to do its job. But if my diet was poor, if my diet was what it used to be when I was pre-diabetic, I would have insulin resistance. So the insulin wouldn't be doing its job. And when you have insulin resistance, insulin's the only hormone that can get into every single cell in your body. Insulin can get into your brain. High insulin can get into your toes. It can get into your eyes. It can get into fingertips. It can get into everything. Your sex hormones. It can be passed through the placenta into the growing fetus from the mother. Insulin is the only hormone that can penetrate every single cell. And so because when it's at high levels and it's not doing its job, it's resistant, it's dysregulated. What then happens is that your risk of disease and illness massively increases. And the types of diseases we've been talking about: heart disease, high blood pressure, bad cholesterol, but also things like dementia and Alzheimer's and premature blindness and erectile dysfunction and PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and kidney disease and fatty liver disease. When bodies have been, given up to science once they pass, and they've looked at, the diseased brains of Alzheimer's and dementia patients, one of the commonalities that they've found in these brains that have suffered horribly through this horrible disease is high levels of insulin in the brain. So, we really have to have a good hard chat about this, ladies and gentlemen, that one of the ways that you can help to improve your insulin sensitivity, so your insulin's working for you and not against you, is by making sure that you've got a balanced diet. And one of those balances is fiber. And what did I say not long ago at the beginning? Right? The scary stat. We're looking at upwards of 90% of the population don't regularly get enough fiber. So yes, fibremaxxing, improving our insulin sensitivity and reducing our chronic disease risks, especially that risk that is supposed to explode in the next decade around the world, type 2 diabetes risk, which that's why they call Alzheimer's dementia type 3 diabetes now, because of the absolute risk it has to our brain health as well. So fibremaxxing does all those things. There's also a cancer prevention advantage when it comes to making sure you're getting enough fiber. And as we're speaking about, bowel cancer is one of the most frequently diagnosed cancers at the moment. It's up there in the top 2 or 3 of cancers that are getting regularly diagnosed. And so, making sure you're maximizing your fiber, not overdoing it, as we've discussed, but maximizing your fiber intake every single day means you are you have some cancer prevention fighting techniques in your hand, because you're reducing that toxic overload, right? Especially in the large intestine. And you're producing all those wonderful short chain fatty acids, which help with the lining of the gut. It helps with getting rid of inflammation as well. Think of your short chain fatty acids like the cleaners, like doing the hoovering, doing the vacuuming in your gut as well. And all that by making sure you're getting enough fiber in your day. So fibremaxxing also helps with weight management. And the way that it does this is that when you eat fiber, you feel full because it's quite fibrous. It takes a while for it to leave your tummy. So you feel fuller longer because fiber, if you think about fibers, like everything's got fibers to it, whether it be a vegetable or even protein has fibers too, right? So you've got all these fibers that need time to be broken down into a more digestible stage so it can move on to the second stage of digestion. So you go from eating, eating some, let's just say you eat a steak meal with a side salad, right? There's a lot of fibers in that. You get fibers in whatever the vegetables are that were in the salad. There's fibers in the meat as well. But the fibers I'm specifically talking about, the ones in the vegetables. And so your body's got to break those down. How it does that is it does that through digestive enzymes that your body has created. It does that by the stomach acid that's already in your stomach. It does that by the churning and washing machine-like environment that happens in the tummy to begin to mechanically and chemically break down the food. That takes time, right? Fibers are hard to break down. So it needs to break this food down till it's in small enough next stage. This is known as chime, by the way. That's it's almost like toothpaste, and then that chime can then go through and leave your tummy and go to stage 2 of digestion, which is your small intestine, where all the nutrients get absorbed. But to get to the small intestine and break down those fibers, it does take time, and that means you're feeling fuller longer, right? Fiber equals fullness. So when you're feeling full and your stomach is slowly emptying, as opposed to you eat something like high in sugar and starch and it just goes straight through you, or you drink your sugar in the form of sodas or orange juice or smoothies, that all the work has been done for your tummy. That's why I don't promote the drinking of smoothies, because when you process something like that, when you really process something, one of the things that can happen and does happen is that all of that fiber has been blended up. And so all the work that your tummy would normally do from all that fiber and that smoothie that you've just eaten, which is usually, vegetables or fruit, is that all that fiber, which would normally spend a bit of time in your tummy, goes straight through you, as you know, straight through you. And because it goes straight through you, you don't feel as full longer. You get a blood sugar spike because it's gone straight through you. There's no satisfaction as your tummy slowly empties out, and you find that you are hungrier sooner, and you've had that blood sugar spike, which we've already discussed is problematic. So by eating your fiber and not drinking it, really, really important, it will promote fullness. It will promote the slower emptying out of the tummy. It will promote that you won't feel hungry sooner, so you won't be putting in more food, which of course, all of these things will aid in weight loss and weight management, right? It's just a bit of a no-brainer when you think about it, right? Eat your fiber, don't drink it. Slowly empty out your tummy, which means that you feel fuller longer, which means that there's less chance of you snacking, there's less chances of you overeating, and this will absolutely aid in weight loss. Not to mention what happens when the fiber gets further down your system, right? It just gets better and better and better. So that's another thing that we need to be really mindful of. But another benefit of or advantage of fiber is when it comes to our mental health. And not just our mental health, but also there is longevity benefits to everything we're talking about, because we're looking at this as a holistic approach. So those short chain fatty acids or CFAs from fiber can really help to improve mood. And the way that it does that is it creates a balance in your gut microbiome. So you're getting lots of good, healthy gut bacteria. They're thriving and they're surviving. And so you have access to the hormone that pretty much spends most of its time in your gut, which is your serotonin, which is your happy, calm, content hormone. It's the one that just makes you feel like everything's all right with the world. So fiber helps to improve your mood, and it does that via that gut-brain access, right? Because remember, your gut bugs talk to your brain, but you want the right gut bugs talking to your brain, and they happen to be those short-chain fatty acids as well. So fiber, in its entirety, as a holistic approach, you can't go wrong. In fact, you need it. And these are all the reasons why you need it. But how do you take it? This is the thing, right? How do you put it into your body? And what is the safe, evidence-based ways to do it? So here are my tips for you guys. Number one tip, if you're going from low fiber to wanting to max it out at 25 to 30 grams a day, which is perfect, is you need to increase gradually and slowly. Don't go from 0 to hero. Please don't do that, because as we discussed at the beginning of this episode, you could experience a lot of that really kind of, uncomfortable side effects of going too hard out too quickly. So please increase slowly. You want to add sort of maybe, start with adding just a little bit in your day. And one of the best ways to start adding fiber without overloading your system is to go with vegetables. Yes, I know you're going to go, it's so boring. I don't want to hear that. But honestly, go with vegetables. Start with increasing the amount of vegetables that you eat. Always a whole foods approach. But another thing that you can do that can help to maximize it gently is you can do something like our boost protocol, but just start with 1 teaspoon a day. Because remember, 4 cups of broccoli in 1 teaspoon, right? Start with 1 teaspoon a day. So you want to start gradually, and you want to build up to it, because your body actually has to develop a tolerance for fiber, whether it be fiber through whole food sources or fiber using our boost protocol as well. If you're new to fiber and or you're wanting to increase your fiber, I would also start off slowly with this as well. I wouldn't do more than half a teaspoon of this, because remember, it's a little bit more heavier on the system, and I would probably only do 1/3 of a teaspoon of this, and kind of sit back and see how you feel about that before you move on. But when it comes to boost protocol, you can happily do 1 teaspoon a day. You can even break it up, half a teaspoon, with breakfast, half a teaspoon with lunch or dinner, just to ease your way into it. So number one tip is increase gradually. Yeah, increase gradually. This is really going to help to prevent that overloading of your system, with bloating or be, just, diarrhea or constipation. So number one, increase gradually. Number two is you need to, again, we need to prioritize those whole foods. So bang for your buck, always and forever, is going to be increasing the amount of vegetables that you eat and increasing the diversity of vegetables that you consume. Majority of people eat 4 vegetables, and those vegetables not that high in fiber. In fact, they're on the low end of fiber. Things like potatoes, very low in fiber, pretty much high in starch. It's going to give you a blood glucose spike. Iceberg lettuce, no nutrients in that. Sorry, guys. Basically, no fiber to talk about, but it's one of the most consumed vegetables. Onions, a little bit better, right? Onions, quite common. Carrots, a little bit better, but again, carrots come with, and I'm talking about not organic carrots, I'm talking about commercially produced carrots are actually quite high in natural sugars and starches as well. So we tend to eat the vegetables that are commonly consumed are the ones, or corn is another vegetable that's commonly consumed. Again, very low in fiber, very high in sugar and starch, which is pretty much modern corn, whether it be corn on the cob, frozen corn, or, corn flour, cornmeal, corn starch. I mean, it's in everything. Corn syrup, really bad, really high in sugar. So we need to prioritize not just vegetables, but high fiber vegetables. So I'm talking about the fibrous vegetables like that we find in our broccoli. 4 cups of broccoli and 1 teaspoon. I love that. Broccoli, cauliflower, things like avocados, also all of our mushroom family, eggplant. I would even throw cucumber in there, even though cucumber's got quite a lot of water, but it's a good vegetable. Capsicums, I'm going through my fridge at the moment. Swede, choco, all manner of dark leafy greens, all of the stuff, like silver beet or Swiss chard, kale, if you're that way inclined. I mean, there is just so many wonderful fibrous vegetables, and we want to avoid the low fiber ones because, hey, we're Fibremaxxing, right? So choose whole vegetables, take them to your kitchen and cook them. There's some that you can eat raw. I don't recommend you eat kale raw too often because it needs heat to break down certain anti-nutrients in there. But there are definitely, raw vegetables that you can eat. Absolutely. I also make pickles. So I've got pickled fibrous products. I love to eat fermented foods as well, like kimchi, which is obviously full of cabbage, and sauerkraut, which are all really good for you. All of these high fiber foods, asparagus and all manner of color, variety, flavor, and textures. And we got to stop being boring and just eating the same old vegetables, like meat and 3 veg. And those 3 veg were usually potatoes, peas, corn, and maybe carrots. So it's meat and 4 veg. But you know what I mean, right? There's no fiber in those. They're just full of sugar and starch. We need to start eating our fibrous vegetables. Come join me on Boost Camp. I'll teach you all about this. This is what we do. This is what we've done for the last how many years on Boost Camp, right? Is promote a fiber first approach, a fiber max. We were Fibremaxxing before it was cool. How good is that, right? And we're still Fibremaxxing. So choose whole vegetables. Yes, there is some fiber in fruit, but when it comes to fruit, you got to be a bit careful, right? You can't overload your system with fruit because don't forget, fruit also contains natural sugars. So you can overdo fruit. In fact, one of my key tips when it comes to fruit is no more than 1 portion a day. What is a portion? It's something that fits into the palm of your hand, and you can do that. So we're talking like, a small apple, a mandarin. That's a really good portioning guide, mandarin. It could be 1/4 cup of berries. Berries are really, really good for you, by the way. They're my favorite. Love berries of all description. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, berries, frozen or fresh. I'm going frozen at the moment because it's winter. So I just love my frozen berries. But you want to go for low sugar fruit and no more than 1 portion a day. That is a Boost Camp rule, right? Anyone who's on Boost Camp is going, yes. So yes, we'll do that. We'll also be looking at certain legumes, which are high in fiber. So again, with legumes, just be careful. be careful with legumes because they can be high in carbohydrates, high in natural starches, sugar and starches. So my favorite legumes, letting you on a massive tip here for anyone, is lupin beans. So lupin beans, they look like the shape of like navy beans or kidney beans, but they're white or they're cream colored. They are very high in fiber. They are very high in protein. Remember, we're into balance here. And and here is the kicker. This is what knocks it out of the park every time. Lupin beans are very low in carbohydrates. So you're not getting that sugar starch overload. So you could choose things like lentils and chickpeas, but again, watch that carbohydrate load. Like I'm really mindful about that. I prefer lupin beans. I cook with the lupin flour and create bread. I add lupin beans into stews. I add them into things like my chili instead of adding kidney beans. Again, you're getting all the benefit of the fiber and the protein without the negative impact of too much carbohydrates can have as well. So we always want to prioritize those whole foods, especially our vegetables, right? Prioritize whole foods rather than thinking that we need to be always looking for a supplement alternative. For me, it's why I've called it boost protocol, is because it's part of an overall balanced diet. Right? You can't just like think we can take a supplement on its own, it's going to have the effects that we want. We've got to balance it out. Because not only do we have fiber in those vegetables, think of all the nutrients, right? Nutrient rich. Think of the goodness. And you know what your body wants? Your body craves nutrients. It needs nutrients. Fiber is a part of the conversation, but it shouldn't be the be all and end all at the risk of not getting all those wonderful nutrients that you get in that diversity of vegetables that you can eat. The more veggies, the better. There are other forms of fibers that you can have as well. Things like psyllium husks can also be included. Don't just have a glass of psyllium husk, which some people do. Like make it into something. I use psyllium husks in cooking and baking. I use psyllium husks like in bread, especially. I make a really high psyllium high bread. You know, it's more than just Metamucil, right? More than just Metamucil because it's like I said, it's part of an overall strategy. Don't just think you can have psyllium husks and you're good, right? You've actually got to have all the other things that especially we find in our whole foods like our vegetables. Another high fiber product are things like chia seeds as well, which are really, really good for you. And just making sure that you're getting diversity, I think, is the big thing when it comes to prioritizing our whole foods. Another thing that you can do is and this is very important when it comes to increasing your fiber. So when you start Fibremaxxing, is you have to drink enough water. You have to hydrate efficiently because water, think about it, you're adding bulk to your stool, to your bowel movements through extra fiber. Now, if you do not drink enough water, because water's job is to, hydrate every cell in your body. Water's got lots of jobs, right? It's to basically lubricate every cell in your body. Your body needs water to live. Like we would perish within a couple of days if we didn't have water to consume. It is right up there. For me, water is just as important as getting the right nutrients in, right? It's so important. It is the fountain of youth. It is what's going to keep your body going and your brain working and your energy high and lubricate every single cell in your body. Keep your organs functioning. Make sure you detox properly. And it's going to prevent you from becoming constipated. When I meet people, not on the street, but like through my practice, through my nutritionist practice, and we get down into their health history and they say, oh, look, I'm constipated. First thing I say, well, how much water are you drinking? And often the things that we have to tweak is they're not drinking enough water and they're not eating enough fiber. They're eating all the vegetables, but they're eating the wrong vegetables, or they're eating fruit, but they're eating lots of fruit instead of balancing out that fiber quota as well. So we need to increase your water as you increase your fiber. The average person, and I've done a lot of averages today, but the average person needs 2 to 3 liters of water a day. And that's based on a body size of anything from sort of 70 to 100 kilos. You're looking at about 3 liters a day for someone who's 100 kilos. For someone who's 70 kilos, you're looking at about 2 liters a day. Water, not coffee, not soft drinks, not juices, not smoothies, water. And this is going to prevent, when you're fibremaxing, constipation. So this is water's job, is that once that waste product gets into your large intestine, so those insoluble fibers, right, and they're just sitting there, they need something to move it through your large intestine, because your large intestine actually, can you guys see? It starts down here, and it goes up there, and it goes across there, and it goes down there. I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but anyway, that's your large intestine. And you need fluid to push that stool through. So in order to push that through, your body, your large intestine will actually absorb water that's floating around your body. It'll absorb it back into your large intestine to soften the stool, to make sure it leaves your body and doesn't just sit there. So constipation is often caused by lack of fiber and lack of fluid, either or both at the same time, right? So when you increase your fiber, you must increase your water intake at the same time. Really, really important. We've actually got a water calculator. I'm not sure if my moderator is online, if he can share. If you're online, moderator, can you please share our water calculator in the chat? We'll share it in the Facebook chat for you guys, to make sure you can actually calculate how much water you need for your current body size. Everybody's different. None of this, oh, you must drink 8 cups a day. Like, firstly, what's a cup? I hate that measurement. It's not, it's unreal. Like, it's like, well, what's a cup? Is a cup this big or is it this big? We give it to you in mils or ounces, so you know exactly how much water you need to consume for your current body size. Everybody is different because we all weigh differently, right? We all have different activity levels as well. So if you're quite active, if you work out, if you move around a lot, if you live in a hot environment, your water intake actually increases as well. And in order to prevent constipation, we need to make sure that you are softening that stool so it passes through you in a timely fashion. Ideal timing, as we've spoken about, is anything from sort of 16 hours after digestion, after eating, up to about 30, 36 hours. So you want to be going once to twice a day or once every 1.5 days, pretty much, right? Any longer than 36 hours between bowel movements, you might want to look at your fiber intake, and you're probably going to want to look at your water intake as well. So I don't think my moderator's on, because he's not leaving any comments. Where are you listening, moderator? Now I'm putting him on the spot now. Are you listening? He's not. I'm going to be able to tell him off after this. So make sure you are adequately increasing your fiber, and make sure you're diversifying your fiber. I think we're up to 0.6 now. So as I was talking about, when it comes to vegetables, get a wide range of high fiber vegetables. When it comes to your fruit, make sure you're not having too much, but diversify your fruit. Don't eat berries every day. Swap it around with other low sugar fruits, right? Like swap it around with a nice green apple one day, and maybe the next day you're having something from the citrus family. When it's summer, have something from the stone fruit family, right? Have some melon. You know, there's all sorts of other low sugar fruits, and you can diversify that fruits. Because remember, every single time you choose a different vegetable or a different fruit, you're getting a different nutritional profile. So you're adding different nutrients, different vitamins, different minerals to your diet, and your gut will love you for it. It will literally respond with good health. So remember that diversity is the key, even when it comes to your fiber. Like, don't just have chia seeds every day, right? Don't just have lupin beans every day. Like, we've got to keep it really organic, as in, you don't have to choose organic food. I mean, as in, keep it kind of like moving along at a really interesting and at pace, that you kind of are building from things. Like if you go, oh, I really like that eggplant, don't just eat eggplant, right? Even though it's really, really good. Again, another really common conversation that I have with people is they're like, I really like that, so I eat that every day. I'm like, nope. You can't do that. You need to diversify your fiber. You need to diversify the types of foods that you eat. It's one of the reasons why, when it comes to Boost Camp, I keep on creating new meal plans and new recipes. Because if you were to just do the same old Boost Camp, your body would get pretty much into a comfort adaptation zone. And if your goal is continued improvement of health, continued weight loss, continued improvement in sleep and mobility and energy and mood. If you're wanting to continue on your journey and continue to improve, continue to just feel better from the last week, last month, last year, you've got to continually diversify what you're doing so that you keep your gut bugs, you keep that garden really well nourished with lots and lots of different plants that you're growing. Because that's how I like to think of the gut microbiome. I think of it like this wonderful garden. And every time you eat a different, vegetable or a different type of nut or a different, type of meat, or you add different herbs and spices to your food than what you would normally have. Every time you do that and you mix it up, you're planting new groups of healthy bacteria. You're planting, it's like so you're keeping that garden really beautiful with the most amazing array of different flowers, if you want to put it that way, in your garden. So you're growing a really, really beautiful garden down there. And when you've got a beautiful health garden, a beautiful gut garden, it will respond with giving you amazing health. And yes, amazing health means you're at the right weight for you. So hope you've enjoyed today's chat about fibremaxxing. Should you be fibremaxxing? Well, you should be making sure you're getting enough fiber every single day. 25 to 30 grams of fiber is what you're aiming for. Gentle amounts of fiber, right? Starting off with gentle amounts of fiber and then building yourself up, making sure that you're hitting all those touch points when it comes to doing it safely. So you're doing it gradually, you're increasing the water, you're diversifying. So you're eating lots of different fibers, you're prioritizing whole foods like vegetables, minimizing your fruit intake, making sure you're getting other forms of fiber in the form of lupin beans and chia seeds and psyllium husks. Flax meal is one of my favorite fibers. I forgot to mention that, right? Flax meal is one of my favorite, flax seeds. But we're making sure that we're getting all this goodness. I can see my moderator online now. Mr. Moderator, could you please add the link to our water calculator into the chat here on Facebook so that anyone who wants to calculate amount of water that they have when they are fibremaxxing, that they're doing it safely, they can make sure to be doing that. So have a fabulous day today, everyone. Wherever you are in the world, be well, be safe, Fibremax safely. If you've got any questions, come and join us over on Facebook in our private group, BHK Family. That is our private Facebook community. Join me in my public page on Facebook, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, where you get notified if you subscribe that these are going live. Also join me over on YouTube, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen on YouTube as well. Don't forget to subscribe and like my channel, and please share this content. If you really like this content, moderator, I'll add later today. It's off. Oh, it's offline. I thought you said you're offline. This is from our moderator. I'll show you. I'll add later today. It's offline at the moment. Oh, no. So he's going to add that. So come back later. We'll just share it. We'll share it in our private group, BHK Family, if you want our water calculator so you can calculate how much water when you're fibremaxxing safely. So have a great day, everyone. Wherever you are in the world, be well and be safe. And we'll see you really, really soon. Take care. Bye.